Hello and a misty welcome back to the channel of nonsense. Now in life, I think it is important to know your limits and to get other people to help you at things you're not so good at, whether that's doing your taxes or paving work or bleaching parts of your body. And Mazda is no different. See, Mazda hasn't really done a huge amount of groundbreaking work in the world of EVs. It's focusing on efficient petrol and diesel engines instead. So they've got someone else to help it build its next EV, the Mazda 6e. But how Mazda-y is it, given that underneath it's something different? Yeah, it might not surprise you to learn that the Mazda 6e underneath is essentially a Chinese electric car, also sold in a different guise as the Changan Deepal SL03. But Mazda and Changan have a joint venture in China to build cars for the Chinese market, so it is sort of Mazda-y, but also, as we'll find out, sort of not. But most importantly, the Mazda 6e is named to sound like a South African person saying sexy, which I quite like, but it's all right looking, isn't it? This one is in Mazda's Soul Red, which is lovely. It comes in some greys and some whites and some blacks as well. You've got LED headlights, you've got slim things here, and also a light up grille, which isn't really on at the moment, but it's got these kind of wings down here that can show things like the state of charge when you're charging it, and so on and so forth. It is pretty big. It's 4.9 meters long, so it's only that much shorter than Mazda's big CX-80 7-seat SUV, and it's quite a bit longer than the old Mazda 3, which got killed off 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, I don't mind the way it looks, but it's got some interesting stuff on the EV side which we need to talk about. Oh, and ignore the fact this one's on Swiss plates. It's not coming out in the UK until the middle of 2026, so I've just got an early drive of it. That's what it looks like from the side. It weighs just under 2 tons. It's 1.95 tons, so it's heavy for a Mazda, but not that heavy for an electric car with an 80 kilowatt hour battery. This one's on 19-inch wheels, and yeah, part of me is wishing they did an estate version like the slightly longer Volkswagen ID7, but they don't. Not yet, anyway. I'm sorry, I've left my coat on the floor, but this is what the interior of the Mazda 6e looks like. And if you're a Mazda fan, you'll think, doesn't look much like a Mazda. And you would be right. Lots of this stuff is generic Chinese EV stuff, such as big infotainment system. Sorry, it's a bit blurry. I think I got a bit of water on my lens earlier, but that is the usual thing of having too many menus to go through to turn off things like lane keeping assist. You have to use it to adjust your mirrors. So on and so forth. It's got wireless CarPlay and Android Auto and voice commands, but it's a mixed bag in terms of usability. You'll also recognise the very de rigueur twin wireless phone, well, it's a single wireless phone charger with just a phone holder on the other side, cup holders there. The digital dashboard, you've got a digital dashboard there, it's exactly the same as I've seen in JQs and things like that. So it's easy enough to read, and it will show you your efficiency, your radar cruise control and all that good stuff. Nice flat bottom steering wheel, but again, there's no, not really a wiper stalk. You can press the end of it in to spray your windows, but you have to map one of those star buttons to actually adjust the wiper speed.
This function does not support voice commands at the moment. Unable to execute.
Unable to execute? Chinese government, I'm not sure you are. And then the other star button there can be used to change things like your headlights, because there's no headlight button, no mirror control. It's a little bit frustrating to use. You do get these nice black ventilated and heated artificial leather seats in this Takumi model. If you step up to Takumi Plus, you get lovely caramel and suede numbers, which is very nice. You've got a Sony sound system, which is pretty good as well. The only thing you won't be able to see, you'll see it in the driving section in a minute, is that the seat doesn't go low enough for me. So like that Genesis G80 I reviewed a couple months ago, my head touches the sun visor. I'm looking at junctions, and you've got a big black hole in there. You're searching for a black orthodontist?
I didn't hear clearly. I'm still not following.
Sorry, I don't have my braces fitted based on, you know, racial preferences.
Please take your time and let me know when you're ready.
Stop listening to me. Right, finally, before I go absolutely mad, you've got an okay sized glove box there and cup holders there. And the air vents, at least you can move them manually. Is it saving grace, I suppose? Now, I wouldn't say I'm bringing sexy back, but I am doing the 6e back seat bit of the video. I'm 6'3", that's my left-hand drive driving position there. Loads of knee room, not much foot room. Headroom runs out slightly when I lean all the way back because you get a standard fit panoramic sunroof. On top spec Takumi Plus models, you get a blind on that. But otherwise, you've got big door bins there. You've got a nice wide middle seat, a completely flat floor, an armrest in the middle. You've got some climate control nonsense there. And there's a single USB-C, which is really hidden down there. The Isofix covers are behind removable flaps, which you're going to chuck in the door bins and have them rattle around for your ownership of your car, or lose them. And you've got a pocket there. So actually, it's okay. I just wish I had more footroom, to be honest, and a little bit more headroom. And my eyes, as a tall person, are looking at the kind of roof rail there. But kids will probably be all right, because the window line is quite low. Now, one thing you can't see on the 60's bum is this deployable spoiler, which likes to come up at 56 miles an hour and looks quite cool. I'm going to stop that. The tail lights and the light bar are designed to hop back to the RX-7 and the old Mazda 3 and things like that. So it's got a family resemblance going on there. Now, these can tow 1.5 tons, which is quite practical. The boot space on paper isn't massive. It's only 330 litres, but you've got a 72 litre frunk. And actually, when you look at this, that goes quite a long way into the car. You've just not got much vertical room. And the eagle-eyed among you would have noticed it's not a saloon. It's actually a hatchback. So you could whip the parcel shelf out and stack a bit more stuff there. You've got this lovely Mazda 60 rubber floor mat. Do you like a 60 rubber floor mat? Sorry, I said I'm going to stop it. Under there, you've got tyre inflation gunk and a hazard warning thing, and no space really. So yeah, it's not as big as I would have liked in there, but at least the access is nice and good, and it's not a saloon like a Tesla Model 3, which you would struggle to push a goat into the back of should you wish. No problems with this. Okay, you know what time it is? It's time for flap chat, and it's a slightly confusing flap chat when it comes to the Mazda 60, because you can get it with a big 80 kilowatt hour battery like this one, which is good for 343 miles on paper, or a smaller 69 kilowatt hour battery that's good for just under 300 miles on paper. However, there are some key differences. This big one is an NMC battery. It can only fast charge up to 90 kilowatts, so it takes 47 minutes to get from 10 to 80%, which is a lifetime in this day and age. The smaller battery can fast charge way faster, 165 kilowatts, meaning it will only take about 24 minutes to do the same 10 to 80% charge. That smaller battery has more power as well, 260 horsepower on the back axle. This big battery has got close to 240 horsepower on the back axle. I keep falling over. So anyway, big battery, big range, but slow charging and a bit less performance. Small battery, I forgot to say it's an LFP battery, the smaller battery, so more modern battery technology. That is going to fast charge better and have more power. Choices. Right, should we go driving in the Mazda 6e? Let's see if I can get it out of this car park. Right, windscreen wipers, is that star button? No, yeah, there you go. No, that cycles through. Tesla, you've got a lot to answer for. Right, and then it's an old Mercedes-style column shifter to put yourself in gear. And let's see if we can get out of this muddy car park without ripping the front off the car. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is how well equipped these are as standard. So you've got heated and ventilated seats in the front. Obviously, the massive screen is standard, so is the digital driving display, as is a 360 camera. And you've got blind spot monitors down the back of the car when you indicate as well. Also got radar cruise control. It's got all the usual ADAS stuff, which is very annoying, such as the driver attention monitoring, which will trigger when you're in the menu trying to turn off things like lane keeping assist, speed limit warning, which are buried in there. It's beeping a lot at the moment because I'm going down a hill. Bear with me. But handy, I've got a camera showing me how close I am to curbing it. Now, I am obviously in a left-hand drive car that's been borrowed by Mazda UK from Mazda in Switzerland. Stop it. So that means people will either think I'm making toe bones or hoarding Nazi gold. Just stop listening to me. Whenever you're talking, whether you've alerted the system or not, it will show you what you're saying at the top of the screen, which makes my job now quite annoying. And now that's saying my line of sight is wandering. Honestly, modern cars, you can absolutely do one. But anyway, how does it drive? Well, drives all right, actually. It rides pretty well. It's got a slightly sharp ride over kind of creases in the road and bumps and lumps, but generally speaking, it's pretty refined and doesn't get on your nerves. And likewise, at motorway speeds, you get a little bit of tyre noise, but not much wind noise because it's not a massive SUV. So it's going to be a comfortable companion for long drives. Now, in terms of efficiency, admittedly, this isn't a massively fair test because I've only driven about 30 miles and I've not been driving that economically on back roads, but I've been averaging 3 miles per kilowatt hour, which does lead me to believe that in normal driving you will get closer to 4 on long journeys and things like that, which I suppose isn't bad and will get you close to 300 miles of actual range out of this big battery version. What it isn't is especially fast, to be honest. It's 7.8 to 60. It's not really slamming you in the back of the head when you put your foot down, even when you use the steering wheel button to change to the sporty driving mode, and that just changes the throttle response. It doesn't adjust the dampers or anything clever like that. The steering is fine, it's accurate, it's pretty light, it just doesn't have that Mazda-ness. My old CX-60 had quite weighty steering, and obviously things like the Mazda 3 and the MX-5, they've got really satisfying steering. This feels a little bit average, to be honest. There's a little bit of body roll in corners, but you can hoon this down a back road at 60 miles an hour and you don't feel like you're about to fall off the face of the earth and end up in an Austrian dungeon. It's okay from that point of view. Ride's okay, as I've said, refinement's good. Head-up display is nice, it flashes at you when you're breaking the speed limit. Woe betide you. The view out the back is pretty bad, I have to say. You've got a really small rear window on this without a rear wiper. And when you're looking in the rearview mirror, it's like you're looking out the birth canal. It's pretty restricted out there. Needs to widen a little bit. And back corners, you've got fairly big blind spots as well. But I could say that about pretty much every other electric saloon that I can think of. Slash hatchback, I know it's a hatchback. So there we go. The mirrors are a nice size. It's just a bit of a fiddle to drive, like to change things, to adjust your mirrors, to turn the speed limit warning off. Yada, yada, yada. You're going to be bored of me saying this stuff because I say it about so many modern cars. What's wrong with having a physical mirror adjustment switch there? Mazda used to be really keen on prioritizing safety. Like the infotainment system, my CX-60, it would stop being a touchscreen when you're moving, forcing you to use an iDrive controller. This has gone completely the other way. No, don't pull out. I know you're a van. Jeez. Oh, it's vibrating at me because there's a white line. I'm not over the white line. Yeah, you'll want to turn all the ADAS stuff off, as in pretty much every other Chinese-made car that I've driven this year, because they just don't seem to have the sort of leeway that you need for driving on narrow British roads, to be honest. And the steering wheel vibrates and all the rest of it. So yes, anyway, I've talked way too long already about how this drives. The actual fundamentals, the chassis, are largely fine. I wish the ride was a tiny bit softer, but it's not too bad. Let's head back to me for a conclusion. Okay, to sum up Mazda 6e, it is a pretty decent all-round electric car. It's let down a little bit by not feeling particularly Mazda-y inside. I miss the Mazda steering weight and the precision you normally get from Mazda steering. It's not really there in this. It does just feel a little bit more like a generic box ticking EV exercise, but it looks quite smart. It's packed with tech. The only kicker is at the moment, Mazda aren't telling us how much it's going to cost in the UK. A basic one of these in Europe costs about £40,000-ish. So I'd expect it to come into that between 40 and 50 grand bracket when it does eventually come out in the UK. And I don't know how that breaks down for the small battery versus the big battery, but as a car, I'm not really going to remember it in a couple of days' time, but it does look good. And if it's coming onto your electric company car list, then it's going to be something very different to the alternatives. I just wish the boot was a little bit bigger as well. And I've not seen massively good efficiency out of it, getting about 3 miles per kilowatt hour, but admittedly, I've been booting it. So I'm going to give it a provisional 7 Tim Roadies out of 10. That might go down if it's really expensive. But anyway, it's coming out in June next year. That's 2027 for... No shit, it's not. It's 2026 next year. It's coming out in June 2026 here in the UK. If you've liked this very confused video, please give me a thumbs up because it's Monday morning and it's drizzling. I'm standing here doing this for you. Subscribe to the channel because I've got more car reviews coming soon. And go down to the comments and leave me the Chinese phrase for who makes that infotainment system, because it's the same in every single Chinese car. Goodbye.